You're listening to the Visibly Fit podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Wendie Pett, and every week I'll give you holistic, practical solutions for everyday issues related to nutrition, healing, functional fitness, and behavior modifications. As a naturopath, fitness expert, and wellness coach for over 20 years, my goal is to empower you to reach for greater health and to rise up to your next level of living in mind, body, and spirit. You were created with greatness in mind. It's time to own it. Are you with me? Then let's dive in. Do you find that you get a little sad this time of year? Due to seasonal affective disorder. And truth be told, the other sad affects us too, the standard American diet. But we're going to talk about seasonal affective disorder a little bit more today. I'm Wendie Pett, and this is the Visibly Fit podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, here, I want to give you a stat on this, a little fact. According to the Cleveland Clinic, about 5,000 of Americans, which equates to about 10 million people, they experience the effects of seasonal affective disorder. And 75% of those are women. That's right, they're women. And another 10 to 20% of those people experience a mild case of just depression disorder during this time of year. Some people call it the winter blues, but there's an explanation and ways to flip sad to glad. Good laughter all day. Yes, okay, whatever. I made that one up. But it does sound good, doesn't it? To have good laughter all day. I mean, after all, laughter is good medicine, especially according to Proverbs 17:22. Yes, it says that a joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones. Wow. Yeah, we want to laugh, but laugh and joy, they don't have to go hand in hand. They don't. But laughter is actually known to release stress, relieve anxiety. It boosts your immune system, and it can even help minimize aches and pains. So if we can laugh, that's a lot better, especially during this time of year. But we cannot laugh off the reality of seasonal affective disorder. Especially as we move into November, you're probably noticing that the days are getting shorter. Yes, that's right, fall, or if you want to call it autumn. You're probably noticing that just the days are like, whoa, where did the day go, right? It's getting darker earlier. I know that fall or autumn actually started September 22nd, but with fall comes change. And it's not just seasonal, but with your body chemistry as well. And as these days grow shorter and those dark hours longer, that's right, we still have, I guess it's December. Ooh, I don't even know what the date is. It's like December 20th or 21st, and it's the longest day of the year. So we still have some time for that, but man, it's starting to get darker. But you may find that you're wanting to sleep a little bit longer. I know I have. This is pretty normal. In fact, according to a study from Harvard Medical School, the average person tends to sleep 2 to 3 hours more in the month of October and into early November than any other months. So it's okay. It is okay. It's normal. Don't judge it. Just go with it. I know that I've been setting and needing to set my alarm because when I don't set my alarm, I'm like, whoa, it's what time? How did that happen? So our bodies are adapting. So just don't judge it. Go with it and just work accordingly, according to how your body's feeling. When it starts to get dark earlier, go to bed earlier. Your body is actually adapting to the lower levels of vitamin D. And, it can make you feel really depleted. You need vitamin D in order to have the calcium be absorbed in the body for best bone and muscle health, and even to ward off disease. But you can hear more and all about vitamin D in episode 9 of this Visibly Fit podcast. So check out Visibly Fit episode 9 if you want to hear more about vitamin D. But really, the full culprit of the seasonal affective disorder hasn't really been figured out, which is kind of crazy. Research shows that vitamin D deficiency is a big piece of, the missing link. It's a big piece of the puzzle that's missing. But researchers really are not 100% sure of the cause. Some believe that there's an imbalance in brain chemistry, absolutely. And that can take us back to the vitamin D conversation, right? Because this vitamin that we get from the sun, or if you're ingesting vitamin D, it boosts the neurochemical in our brain called serotonin. And that serotonin is responsible for sending out signals. That's right, signals that make you feel happy, happy go lucky. If serotonin levels, if they drop because you're already low in vitamin D or because of a poor diet, hence that other SAD, that standard American diet, then it can leave you feeling really moody. It can leave you feeling tired. It can leave you feeling like just lackluster, right? Like you just don't have any desire to do much. And that's not a fun place to be, right? But speaking of diet, because I mentioned standard American diet, serotonin is made from the essential amino acid tryptophan. Now, I know most people think of turkey when they hear that word, tryptophan, especially since this podcast is airing in November and it's all about the Thanksgiving gratitude time, but we tend to think of turkey when we hear that word tryptophan. But there are so many other sources of tryptophan, especially from a whole food plant based source. And so I wanted to share a couple of those with you because we need that serotonin to make us happy. We need that production to happen. So we need some tryptophan going on. And that means we need to eat the proper source. So things like pumpkin seeds, broccoli. Broccoli is a great cruciferous vegetable. Peas, mushrooms. Some people are a little funky about mushrooms, but I love mushrooms and actually just had my mushroom tea. Mushrooms are a great source. Sunflower seeds or dark leafy greens, watercress. These are all great ideas of a way to get tryptophan so that your body can produce serotonin. That's what we want. So we can be happy, 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 happy during this sad time, this seasonal affective disorder time, if you experience that. Now, another issue around seasonal affective disorder is their circadian rhythm disturbances, right? Because this causes our sleep wake patterns to really be disturbed. And this plays a big role in SAD. It really does. When you have less sunlight exposure, then your biological internal clock, it tends to shift. So when this happens, it just causes this vicious cycle of imbalanced hormone production. And this can cause erratic just sleep habits and moodiness. It's really no wonder, because I was thinking about this, that sleep deprivation has been used for years and years and years as a tactic during war and other times, just to wear a person down to get just that truth that they are seeking. Sleep deprivation, it causes you to just not think real clearly, get really moody, angry, really snippy and snappy at people that don't deserve that snip or snap from you. And so our sleep patterns are so important. And so as we're moving into these darker, longer days of these dark moments in our days, we have to do things differently. And maybe you've heard a little bit about melatonin. Just pop some melatonin, you'll be fine. Well, you know, melatonin, it's a chemical that's naturally released, and it's really due to so much sunlight missing that your body tends to produce an excess amount of it, and that might feel, I don't know, might make you feel a bit sleepy and fatigued during the winter months, but melatonin needs to be balanced out. And so that is something that works for some people, doesn't for others. I really like to take red tart cherry juice. That tends to help me. That has a natural um, chemical, a sleep aid in it. So that helps. But man, if you are dealing with just, I don't know, just kind of funky sleep patterns, it can wear you down. And if you're feeling just kind of those blues, because the sun's not out, you're not getting that vitamin D, you're not getting the production of serotonin, you're not sleeping well, all the things, then it can really affect your relationships, not just with your family or your spouse, but your relationships with your clients or your relationships with coworkers. It can really make an impact in your life. Now, What are the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder? There's all kinds of symptoms and everyone shows different things. But if you are extra anxious during this time, and mind you, this is a time where it's, the holidays, so that puts on an extra level of anxious feelings, right? So during the winter months are also the holiday time typically. And so it's something to consider and to acknowledge as well. But if you just feel an extra, like, I don't know, like just weight on your shoulders and you're feeling just really sad and you can't figure out why, and maybe you're a woman that's of age and you're going through some hormonal changes anyway and there's a shift, acknowledge that, understand what's going on and recognize it, and don't beat yourself up about it, but just starting to understand how what stage and age you're in is important, but also to see, okay, is it because the winter months have hit, and how can I beat this seasonal affective disorder, if indeed you have it. You may be someone that it doesn't affect you at all. I kind of get affected by it. I'm just going to tell you right now, or I have in the past, right? So I don't know if it's because I grew up in Texas all those years and I always had tons of sunlight in my world, but I don't know. It just used to really affect me quite a bit. But when you know how to maneuver around it, then you have clarity of mind, you have a better mood, you don't have all the mood swings, and you start to regulate your sleep patterns in a different way, and you don't have the same cravings as you used to. Like if you're one that is really craving a lot of carbohydrates during this time and you're gaining weight and all of that, you might be someone that is dealing with seasonal affective disorder. So just understanding that and recognizing it is kind of the first step, for anything, right? Is saying, oh, maybe that is me. So how do I turn this around? Maybe you're feeling kind of hopeless and worthless and just these feelings that aren't true. They're not accurate. Maybe you're just irritable. Remember, I was talking about snippy and snappy. Maybe you're just irritable and you don't know why. Or maybe you just have a loss of interest in doing anything social or any kind of activity in general. You just kind of want to sit around on the couch and watch Netflix. I don't know. Um, Maybe you find yourself sleeping more. Again, you will probably want to sleep more during October and November until your body starts to regulate a little bit better with the darker days. That's okay. But if you see that it's like taking you into a really funky, depressed state, it's something to consider. Are you just feeling really fatigued, no energy? Are you feeling like, this is an interesting one, but do you feel like your limbs, like your arms and your legs, do they feel heavy? Okay. Do they feel heavy? And I'm not talking like after a workout when you can hardly lift up your arms or squat on the toilet because you're so sore. No, I'm talking that, do they feel heavy and you haven't really done anything for them to feel heavy? That's something to consider. Also, are you like feeling agitated? Are you feeling restless? Are you having just episodes of where you're just angry and you act out in ways that you're like, whoa, who was that person? I don't normally act that way. You might just want to consider, do I have seasonal affective disorder? Is this something to look at? Because it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something to look at. So what do you do? Because there's hope. And I have to tell you, actually, one of my friends, Carmen, she actually went through the Visibly Fit 7-week program, and she dealt big time with seasonal affective disorder. And she would always just kind of feel depressed, and her family would know, oh boy, this time of year is rolling in. We better, walk on eggshells around Carmen. And it was kind of tough. It was tough for her to even admit, but even harder for her to say, what do I do about it? How do I get around this? And once she started to change her diet and her lifestyle, yes, diet plays a big role. So if you are eating and you're consuming the standard American diet, stop it, because it's only going to make you feel worse during the winter months. But if you are bringing in life-giving foods and it's fueling your body with incredible phytochemicals and phytonutrients, and you're getting all the minerals and nutrients that your body really does need to produce proper hormones and to balance them out, then you're going to have a better chance at getting through this season with ease. Also, if you are exercising, you have to move your body. Exercise is a big just stress reliever, number one, but also it will kick in those happy hormones. And so we have to bring in exercise, even as simple as walking. So Carmen worked with me, and she's just awesome. And I think, gosh, I want to say it was back in 2017 or 18 even. And she has not dealt with seasonal affective disorder since, because she's gotten a handle on it. And so, again, through the diet that I taught her how to eat, life-giving foods, and also moving her body and not allowing this time of year to be just a stressful or anxious time of year, or for her family to fear her and not knowing how she's going to react to things, her moodiness. No, she's got it handled, because she knows what this time of year can bring and has in her past. But she doesn't let the weather stop her. She gets outside, she moves her body, she gets, fresh air, which is important, but she thinks of it differently. And she doesn't go after the cravings that she once had of those carbohydrates, those comfort foods, right? Because those are counterfeit comforts. And instead, she sticks to the plan. When we start to deviate because of a way we're feeling in that moment, then it just takes us down a downward spiral. So don't let that be you. If you need help, in this area, reach out to me. Go to getvisiblyfit.com and fill out the simple application, schedule a time on my calendar. Let's just have a conversation, and let's get you through these months with ease. Okay. This year doesn't have to be like the last, I promise. And there are also other things that you can do. Just by changing your mindset and changing the way you think about this time of year. So much is started with our thoughts, our thought process. So we have to change the way that we think. We have to flip the script. Also, just using like bright light box therapies, or blue light therapy is very helpful for a lot of people. There's been studies, and I used to use like a little light box myself, and would have it on for about 10 or 12 minutes while my husband used to use it as well while we were doing devotions, and it was great. It really did help. There's something about really getting that, um, you know, that vitamin D in whatever way you can get it, right? And it's that light source. And now there's other ways too that you can bring in light therapy. Did you know that you can do light therapy through your ears? Yes, that's right. Ear light therapy. Now there are so many products out there, but there's one that I may put in my show notes. I'll keep you guessing. I'll have you go to my show notes to see. Anyway, but you can put this particular product in your ears, and just again for like 10 or 12 minutes. And what it does is it just those light sensitive receptors in the body, it starts to affect how your brain reacts, and you start to function differently. You'll have more energy. You'll release the appropriate hormones, and it'll start to balance out and regulate those neurotransmitters and signals in your body. It can help reduce anxiety and depression, helps to give you a clear mind so you don't have that foggy winter brain, and so much more. So there are options out there. I just want you not to feel hopeless, but to know that you have to take action. Okay. You can, you know, I guess, hang on to your story, if you will, of, hey, I have seasonal affective disorder, which again, I feel for you, because I've been affected by it myself, but I know there's a way out. And so if you want to stick with that story, then you just keep doing what you're doing, right? But if you want to flip the script, and if you want to take action and live this year in a different way, or every winter in a different way, you can. It just takes intentional action. So I'm here to assist you if you have questions, or just want some helpful tips to take action, you can actually go to wendiepett.com, and I've got some great tips right there that you can fill out. I believe I've got a 7-day meal plan, 7-day workout routine. Those kind of little simple steps will get you started. Okay. But just do something. Get a simple light box therapy. See how it works for you. See how your body responds. Sometimes it's a little bit like trial and error. And, melatonin might work for you. It might not. But again, trial and error. Turning off all of your screens at night instead of having that bright light from a large television or your computer screen or your phone. Instead, shut everything down. Turn down the lights, dim the lights, light candles if you want, and start to allow your body to have a different rhythm, because the season is changing. So therefore your body is as well. And if it means that you're ready to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, go to bed. It's okay. And your body will start to regulate, and it might take a couple, weeks to regulate, and you may need a few more hours of rest. That's okay. But just be kind to your body and do what you need during this season. Okay. Because it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something to take action on. So I hope that this was helpful and maybe encouraging, that you don't have to stay in that, the winter blues this year, because there's so much to be thankful for. This is the month of gratitude. Of course, every month should be the month of gratitude, but especially in November, we can flip the script in how we think about things, how we do things, by just saying things differently. Like, instead of I have to, you can say I get to. Instead of it's I have to go for a walk, or I have to eat this salad, or whatever, it's I get to. And then I get to show up in life differently, right? So having gratitude is just a big, big piece of the puzzle as well, as far as releasing positive, healthy neurotransmitters and chemicals in the brain that can make you feel good. And that's one of those, pieces of the puzzle that needs to be mastered. So we're all in this, doing this life together, and we won't master it until the day we die, but we get to choose to live a little bit better today than we did yesterday. So I hope this encouraged you. Feel free to share this episode with others that you might know that it might help, but leave a rating and a review. And I just appreciate you. I love spending this quality time with you. So we will catch you next time right here on Visibly Fit. All right. And make it a great day. But, if you have not listened to the very first episodes, 0 through 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, make sure you do. These episodes are fantastic. And I have worksheets that go along with them. If you go to wendiepett.com/visibly fit podcast, you can download those worksheets, but check out those episodes. I think you will be blessed by them immensely. And if you're just listening for the first time, maybe you don't even know about those episodes. So hopefully that'll help you. But keep tuning in, and I'll catch you here, same time, same place next week. Blessings.
Well, that's a wrap for today's show, so thank you so much for tuning in. I love spending this time with you. To learn more and get more free resources, just head on over to wendiepett.com, and thank you in advance for sharing this episode and this podcast, following and subscribing not only to this podcast, but finding me on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, I'm probably there too. Until next week and our next podcast time together, make it a visibly fit day.